Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Stepping Up to the Plate. So glad you could join us. It's that time of year. It's football season here in Milton, and we're so glad you could join us to preview the Milton High football season, which gets underway here on Friday at Brooks Field against Needham at 7 p.m. So make sure you're out there, that you're loud and you're proud. And we're so glad to be joined here on the dais by our special guest friend of the show, Coach Steve Dembowski. Steve, thanks for being here with us. And
thanks,
my
Mike.
main man, Al Prezzuti, as well. Unbelievable how another year is upon us, Steve. 11th season here at the helm in Milton with, state title, state finalists. Great job that you've done here.
Thank you.
Now a lot of expectations, I guess, they're heightened. I know last year was a tough year. It's kind of like a course correction where you're coming off a great season and you have some turnover in your roster and a lot of development, after a 5-6 season.
Yeah, we have a small senior class last year.
Right.
Forced a lot of juniors and sophomores to play earlier than they probably were ready to do. We were competitive in, those games. Needham was really good last year. Took it to us a little bit early, and we were pretty competitive in the rest of them, and we just couldn't win some of those closer games against Weymouth and Walpole. Even down in Dartmouth in the playoffs, we were in that game, and it got away from us in the second half. But we're lucky to return 9 offensive starters, including the whole line that finished the season last year. We've replaced the 2 seniors, receivers that graduated. The offense is looked well so far in our scrimmages. Patrick Collins has a great grasp there. We've been solid up front. We've run the ball better. Peter Skutnik is really taken another step in his development as our lead back, and Isaac Remy, who's a senior, who really kind of came on late last year. He missed some preseason time, and those 2 have kind of established themselves as 1-2, and then we have a good group of other guys behind them. So our backfield depth is better than it's been. Our wide receivers are good.
Solid.
Obviously, everybody knows Ronan. He's got 119 career receptions already, 1,600 yards, 19 touchdowns. But Patrick Mason has really had a great summer, as has Mike McGee, who played safety last year as well. So those 2 guys, not only do they give us height and speed on the outside, but they really know the system. They catch the ball well. And then we're going to use in the hybrid spot, if we go small and go 4 true wideouts, you'll be looking at Noah Woodley, who can fly, put some pressure on the defenses. That way, if we go with more of a hybrid guy, we got junior Jack Fuller, who's about 6'2", 185, who can line up in the box and give us like that H-back look, or give us receiver capability. He's a tough matchup in that way.
Wow.
And then our tight ends have really done a good job too, and we're going to try to be more personnel bases, more groupings this year than we've been this year.
More diverse with
Sean McCarthy and Jack Kelly, a senior and a junior, have really come along. So we're going to show some different looks and create a little bit more power football. I mean, our ability to run the ball and be balanced will make us better. Last year, we really struggled to kind of get the run game going consistently, and I think Skutnik, as our lead back, didn't score a touchdown until like week 7 against Walpole. So,
well, it was a trial by fire last year because you open up against Needham, which had a stacked team.
Yes.
That winds up going all the way to the Division I, finals.
Right.
And they had Aiden Williams. They had a couple of D1 linemen, and your guys were going up against these guys who were already like polished and had a lot of experience. They were physically more mature in some cases. And yet, this is the same group that stuck together and kind of like weathered the storm, got experience, and now here you have them all with that experience behind them. And how do you think that group in particular, the offensive line, is going to benefit from having been through that?
I think last year there was more of a sense of let's hope they know their assignments, and this year we're really fine-tuning the technique.
Yeah.
The communication has been good. You know, Finn Hegarty is back at center. He's backed up by a senior Desi Alvarez, and then we've got we got a guard, Dylan McDonald and Matt Wagner, who Wagner is probably the best college prospect we've had.
Wow.
In my time here at Milton, at almost 6'6", 200 and almost 60 pounds.
Wow.
He's playing guard and next to John Jelly on the left side. Jelly's the undersized overachiever in the group, was elected captain along with Finn Hegarty. So two guys on the O-line are captains along
That's outstanding.
with Pat Collins and Ronan Salmon. And then on the right side, I said Dylan McDonald at guard, and Osaji Odion Okafor, who played the last 3 games at right tackle, is really been working hard on his craft. So, and we have junior backups.
Yeah,
So,
you get a lot of them.
yeah, the roster, the numbers are great right now. Yeah, I think we have 72 kids, 71 kids on the roster. Our depth is fantastic. We actually had a new kid transfer in from Florida, and he's a running back linebacker, and I'm like, all right, we have 1 skill number left. You don't get to choose. Here it is, right? So,
And who is that?
Jaden DeBose, number 35.
Number 35.
Yeah,
Jake.
you won't see him this weekend because he has to have enough practices to play in varsity. But again, like another kid that looks like he's going to be able to contribute, and we got to find. We have so many kids now that our depth in the overall team ability is strong, and to have to have junior backups is a big thing, because when we scrimmaged and people would go to their twos, our twos went right down the field. I mean, our junior quarterback backups, Joey Cicerone and Sean Lane, led us down the field in our scrimmages with those guys protecting them really well. So we're smarter, we're more complete, we're more mature at a lot of positions. And offensively, it definitely shows. Defensively, we only have, I think, 5 guys back. McGee, Aiden Rowley, an outside linebacker.
Yeah.
I already mentioned Osaji, who plays the end.
Yeah.
Those 3, Nate Lindsey Johnson, who's got a foot injury, so he's not going to play Friday night.
Yeah.
But he's back on the interior as our nose guard. And that's given Dylan O'Driscoll a chance to play. I don't want to screw up all the names because we just use nicknames, but
Dylan O'Driscoll. Yeah.
yeah, D-O-D, the guys call him. But Dylan's a guy who's a junior who is about 240 pounds. He's really worked hard. He could help us on offense. He's playing the nose right now for Nate. We have about 6 guys we like on the defensive line.
Yeah.
We've got some sophomores pushing that are going to start this week on defense. And then we're kind of leaning on the older guys. And we're still developing who we're going to be, I think, defensively. But, we've got the basics down. I think in week 1 we want to tackle and we want to line up right.
Yeah.
And read our keys, and
And don't get beat deep.
yeah, and make them earn it. So, Needham is replacing a ton. They look like they're going to be more open from what we saw in their scrimmages with more spread sets.
Yeah.
And that kind of plays more to our hands too. I think that they don't have the personnel to line up in the I formation and pound the ball at you.
Well, clearly, Milton's going to be a different team than it was a year ago that Needham faced, and Needham's going to be a different team than the one, they were locomotive, headed straight to the finals, it seemed like, and that was evident to everybody.
But that's kind of the question that I'd like to ask you, Steve, is how difficult, to me it would appear to be difficult, I should say, how difficult it is to match up against a Needham team, which is not the same team that you played last year, against what you have. In other words, it's got to be difficult because you haven't seen these guys, you haven't seen the scrimmages and whatnot.
Well, we do have the scrimmage tape.
You do?
Yeah, we exchanged.
They have to give you that?
We exchanged the game tape from the game scrimmage.
Is that a courtesy or is it a?
No, it's kind of
requirement?
just it was a mutual agreement.
Okay. So
You know.
you see it, and then you say, okay, these guys look like they match up fairly well against this, so.
Well, they just don't. I mean, they had a Division I offensive tackle last year and a senior offensive
Yeah,
line.
yeah.
They had a running back, freak linebacker, Aiden Williams, Gatorade Player of the Year. I played with his dad at UMass. Great kid,
Yeah.
who's at Lehigh, I believe.
Yeah.
They had a defensive end, 6'7", 240, who's at Army. The kid destroyed us. He blocked a punt, and he had a strip sack against our 5'10", 190-pound tackle. So, you know, like, we're not going to have those mismatches.
Right.
But in week one, obviously, we want to take care of the ball, which Patrick and the backs and the receivers have done a good job of doing in our scrimmages. We do not want to have self-inflicted wounds with pre-snap penalties
Yeah.
or foolish mistakes.
Yeah,
And then we really want to be sound in the kicking game. And we have, Aiden Rowley, who's our 3-year kicker punter.
Wow.
Jack Fuller's our long snapper. Patrick Mason's going to move into the holding position for PAT field goal. So we feel good
yeah.
that, again, the overall depth on the team, that we're going to be, you know, we're hand-picking those players to utilize in those spots. And I feel, you know, solid that we're going to have good special teams as we continue to develop. And obviously we're giving seniors first opportunities at these things right now because they've worked hard and they deserve it. But those three things, special teams, turnovers, and penalties in these opening games, they'll
They're
kill
killers.
you. They'll
They're
kill
killers.
you. You know, and you can look at even the, you know, Texas, Ohio State, or North Carolina, or even the
Miami, Florida.
Miami and Notre Dame.
yeah.
The 2 turnovers Notre Dame had was the difference in the game, and it doesn't matter really what you do offensively or defensively if you have those self-inflicted mistakes.
You look at the symmetry of this season that you had last year, where you start off at Needham, you absorb a 24-0 shutout, but then at the end of the season, you see the growth that your team has, and beating Braintree 31-0. And then I looked at the growth of your quarterback, Patrick Collins, and I remember having a conversation with him at the end of the Braintree game, and had him reflect on the way the season started, and he kind of chuckled and he says, "Yeah, I need him. Those guys are monsters." And you know, he spent the whole day running for his life. But now, as his coach, you've seen that development, and now you have the luxury of having a returning quarterback, a returning starter at quarterback, which is something you haven't had in the previous 3 or 4 years in a row, because you've always had a new guy coming in.
Yeah, and Pat's a unique kid. I mean, I've coached for 32 years. I've had other juniors get captain votes, but Pat's been the leading vote getter 2 years in a row on this team. So he's been
He was a junior captain.
He was a junior
Yeah,
captain.
I remember, yeah.
He is so respected by his teammates. He's one of the hardest working players we've ever had. He doesn't miss workouts. He's in the weight room. He's on the field. He's doing extra stuff. But I think he's really, his understanding of offense and defense this year is better. His pocket movement, he made a play in the scrimmage the other night where he got a high rush off the outside. He stepped up, and then he slowed. So he took the big couple of steps, slowed down, and drilled an intermediate dig route into Patrick Mason for a touchdown on a 4th and 5 from 13 yards out. And it was like fantastic. The very next drive, he gets flushed, this time to his left. We were running a shallow cross mesh concept. He actually reset again, scanned the field from left all the way back to the right,
Wow.
and found Patrick and threw him the ball.
Wow.
And it was just like, you know,
And it happens in a matter of seconds.
but just like, you know, and last
Yeah.
year, if he got pressure up the field like that, it was ball down and I'm out.
Yeah.
You know, and while we don't mind him running because he's a fantastic athlete, I don't want him getting tackled by the D lineman.
Right.
But he is one of one in our system. Joey and Sean are more pocket quarterbacks. They cannot, the things that we can do with Patrick, we can't do with them. So if those two are in the game, we're going to look a little different because Patrick's so athletic and so mobile.
So
But
he reads the plays, though. I mean, that's.
they all have improved to the point where
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
they're seeing the defense, they know what they have,
Yeah,
and they're making good decisions. I think with Patrick though, he was not the other two grew up as quarterbacks.
yeah, he was.
So he came to us and we made him a quarterback,
Right.
and he would rely more on his athletic ability.
Right.
And guess a little bit on some things last year, particularly in the Needham game. He did not have, and again, it was a really tough spot to walk into.
He was running for his life.
He got sacked 5 or 6 times. We were overmatched. He pulled the ball on run plays when he should have given it. But he's a different kid this year, and I just think overall we're just better around him.
And
So-
it's unbelievable. Like you see the maturation of the kid, and you talk about the respect he has, but also the respect he had from the guys who showed up that day. Owen McHugh was there, Patrick Miller was there,
Right.
and they come to see him, and it was nice to see that. I wish I would have got a photo of those guys together, but it said to me that this kid is going to be rare in this program because he's a returning quarterback.
Right.
And
the history of our quarterbacks too, going all the way back to Mike Fallon, Owen Keeney, Luke McMiniman,
Chase Vaughn.
Owen McHugh, and Patrick Miller. All of them played college quarterback.
Yeah.
Now,
Unbelievable.
Patrick's probably not a quarterback at the next level, but he could play defense somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
He's a football player, and he's tough. And on Thanksgiving Day, you mentioned obviously that we won, but Patrick led the team with 10 tackles. He had, I think, 2 sacks, a caused fumble. He had a pressure that forced the interception that
Led to a
Taryn
touchdown.
had that led to a touchdown. And that's because we had an injury, and we said it's the last game of the year. Let's let him play his natural position. He played
Right.
inside linebacker the majority of the game, and he dominated.
So are you going to have him play any defense at all?
He's been working as a safety. Ronan Salmon has been working at our boundary safety. Mike McGee returns at field safety. And Ronan's been working there, and Patrick has been working there as we hope to get other younger players up to speed. But we just wanted to have veteran guys on the field. And, obviously I don't mind him playing some defense. We let Chase play some defense. We let Owen play some defense. But I don't want him in the box all the time.
You don't need him in the point of
Yeah.
attack, trying to set the hard edge on that.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, we have some guys obviously that we like there, and we're going to just continue to develop. I think the faster our defense develops, the better we're going to be throughout the season. And obviously, Needham is a league game, presents a huge challenge.
Huge challenge right off the bat.
And
And
then-
we can look at the schedule here,
Yeah.
Steve. The one thing that I think you might have an advantage here to start off is that you play 4 of your first 5 games at home,
Yes.
which is huge. And
Yeah.
you've got, Weymouth at home, Framingham at home, of course Needham, and then next week it'll be Central, which is a non-league game, but
Yep.
you added them to the schedule as a non-league.
Yeah, we played them last year. We thought we would go down there this year, and they said, no, we want to come back up to you. I said, okay, thanks. Thank you.
They liked it so much.
Yeah.
And,
and again, they're a team that we expected a wide open game from them, and we got like a double tight 3 back. So we don't know what we're going to get from them.
Right.
They're down in Providence, huh?
Yeah. Mike Washington's the coach. He's done a good job there. I met him through 7-on-7 a couple years ago, and when they were looking for a game, when you have some success in the way the system is now, a lot of people don't want to play you.
Right.
And that's how we got Framingham agreed to play us again, and then we got Acton Boxborough because we were open, and I couldn't find a game anywhere.
Wow.
I was calling all around to bigger programs, and everybody had booked up. So Acton Boxborough was open, and they didn't even have a coach at the point.
Wow.
So their AD made a deal with Mike, our AD, and we agreed to go there because we had already had enough home games.
So that's going to be the first big road trip to Acton, Boxborough to Acton, Mass, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then you've got Wachusett back. You're going out there.
Yeah.
That's going to be a hike.
Yeah, and again, that's what happened when the league moved Needham off of that week 5.
Yeah.
for this 1A week, without conferring with the coaches.
Yeah.
They moved all the league games to week 1A. So now any chance you had to fill an open date, because most people back schedule,
Right.
we don't.
Right.
And it's really makes it hard. So when we signed Wachusett, we have to return the favor and go out there. They're a
Right.
Division I program. They have 1,600 kids in the school. So it's a challenge. And obviously we play Needham's like that, and Natick is like that. And Natick's a non-league game.
And it comes right in the middle of your league schedule too, right, where you got Weymouth, which is going to be a tough team, and then you got Walpole sandwiched in between.
Right.
Weymouth, Wachusett's, Walpole, and then Natick.
And we get the bye
But
before
those
Natick.
are all away,
And then you
away
got
games.
a bye before Natick,
Yeah,
and then of course the Thanksgiving Day at Braintree.
yeah.
Which is going to be a big game too, as always. And looking at this, I mean, there's a lot of optimism. With what you've got returning, you're ranked now number 8, I think, in the Max Preps, and which is
In Division III or in
I
the
think
whole
in the whole state. I think in the whole state.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But and then Needham is ranked 18th, I believe, right now. And
I don't know how they're ranking anybody off of
how do they
last
do
year.
it in the colleges too?
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
I mean,
But,
I think there were some, there were some really good programs that came down to Division III this year. Barnstable, King Philip, Marshfield. Our division is probably going to be the hardest to win in the state with
Yeah.
those schools in there. Now, while there's some top-end talent in Division I and Division II, I think you're going to see at least 6 to 8 teams in Division III that are going to be really good.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And then you're dealing with schools that came down, so it's going to be tough. But we're setting the goals one week at a time. We'd
Right.
love to win the opener, get things rolling, get those first game mistakes out of the way, and continue to build. Before we get to that second league game.
Yeah, and you look at your program, and I want to give some mention to your staff, because you've always had great continuity with your staff.
Yeah.
You look at Dan Jarbeau, your defensive mastermind.
Yeah.
And the guys that he has with him there. Tommy Phelan, and of course you got Mike Lopez, who's a great coach as well. Offensively.
Been very lucky with the coaching staff.
Andrew
Obviously,
Hunt.
yeah. And Dan does the defense.
Yeah.
Tom does everything else. He's the associate head coach. He runs the strength and conditioning program along with Andrew and Zach Mazzarella. So those 3 guys, we had 50-something kids in the weight room and in the running in the summer.
That's great.
Mike Lopez with the offensive line. Mazzarella coaches the defensive line. Tom coaches the linebackers. Andrew is doing the receivers again. We have a new assistant coach, Adam Camilli, who lives in the area but played in the Holliston program during their heyday, who's helping Andrew with the wide receivers. Peter Skutnick Sr. is helping coach the freshmen, which, again, another guy who played college ball. He was a center, right up your alley, Mike.
Yeah.
Right? And he's helping there along with Dumick and Tyrese are back, solidifying that. And we're hoping to get Will Scannell continued involvement, but he's got a heavy workload at work.
Yeah.
So we're actually kind of built the staff a little bit this year, and it's really helping. We're just trying to do as many things as we can. When we have 100, I think we have 107 or 8 kids in the total program right now, which is like the highest it's been.
Wow.
The school's probably not really happy with the amount of equipment we had to buy, but we've got all these kids playing, and while the objective is to continue to just develop them and feed them with knowledge and opportunity to get better and become better players. But the freshmen and the JV will play Saturday at Needham, and then we're looking, like a lot of these other programs, football around the state, the numbers are down. And it's like Walpole doesn't have a freshman team this year. Wellesley doesn't have a freshman team. Framingham doesn't have a freshman team. Acton Boxborough doesn't have a JV team. So it's like we're out there looking for games for these kids to play.
Well, it's gonna be tough on those that do have,
Yeah,
you know.
and
Why? Why do you think that is? I mean, is it?
I
is it
think the
money?
way no, I think the way of course, I think it's the demand of preparing to play football.
Yeah,
You know, again, we started this year on August 15th. We're very early. We had a lot of freshman families that were still like taking family vacations at the end of August, and they don't. Now, while youth football starts August 1st,
yeah.
for some reason, but we always get kids that have never played.
Yeah.
You get older kids that have kids going back. Kids miss practice for a variety. My brother and sister's going back to college. My parents want me to go for the move-in. Blah blah blah. You know, it goes on and on. But I think the biggest thing is, in high school football right now, if you're not a good team, your season's over in October. And I think it really has hurt the inner city. Under this program, the inner city teams have fallen off. We used to have 12, now we have 7. It's going to soon be 6. We have smaller schools. Wellesley has 34 kids, sophomore through senior, in their program. They're a D2 school, and great coaching staff. We have, Weston has under 30 kids in the program.
Wow. Jesus.
You know, and these are challenges that these are coaches with experience and know how to coach, and they just don't have the kids to coach.
Right.
And I think a lot of it is that kids look at football as a huge commitment, and then you play 8 games, and then you play these consolation games, and we keep trying to get that changed. And you know, it'd be one thing to start out 0-5, but know that you have Needham, Walpole, Weymouth, and Braintree at the end of your schedule, where you know you paid your dues, you improved as a player along the way, and then you've still got a chance to win the league.
You know, when I was at Latin, and I played for Latin, the bigger problem was, am I going to make the team, for one?
Right.
And then, if you were a multi-sport person, was there, you know, up against another sport that you might have
Right.
been better at? Or they thought you were better at it. I mean,
Right.
everybody thought I was a better baseball player than I was a football player.
Well, that's another thing too. The business of sport right now. We had an athlete in the building. We wanted to come out, and he said he wanted to play. But then when it came down to it, I have fall basketball.
Yeah.
Now again, Al, you've seen a lot of Division I athletes, but when you're a 6-foot white point guard who doesn't take the ball to the rim and you shoot 28% from 3, you're not a prospect. So open up your variety and expand your horizons. Try football. You know, play baseball too. Or play lacrosse. Run track. Because when it's over, I think it's the one thing these kids and their families, they don't get, that you can specialize all you want, but it's still really hard to play Division III ball anywhere in any sport.
Yeah.
And then, you know, your experience is over and you passed on learning. Maybe you're a star in one sport, but you're a role player in the other. And the value that you learn as a human being as being part of something that's greater than you is way more valuable than the $3,000 you paid to play 10 extra fall basketball games where you're just playing and there's no skill development, there's no strength development. You know,
Well, the other hard thing, though, for a kid, I had my godchild played for baseball for Merrimack, and he got drafted by the White Sox. He was third baseman, but he knew he wasn't going anywhere. Once he got in with the better player, I knew that when I went to Ohio State, I wasn't going to play. I just wasn't. I wasn't good enough. I played for Latin. You go to Ohio State, you got Woody Hayes. And I looked at some of these kids and I'd go, you gotta be kidding me. How am I gonna play with these guys?
yeah.
So the realization, though, is very difficult, though, for a kid.
Yes.
And you know, my godson said, you know what? I'll play Parkway.
And that's why these guys have to cherish these moments they get here on
Yeah.
Friday nights.
No, it's
Special.
Yeah, it is.
it is special.
Yeah, and we're going to get to see that this year here at Milton, the start of a new season. We want to remind everyone it's going to be Friday night at Brooks Field. Be loud, be proud, and show up for the Wildcats because they deserve your adulation, your attention, and your support. And we want to thank Coach Steve Dembowski we want to wish you all the best.
Thanks.
this year, Steve.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, man. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Al.
And Al, thank you. And we want to see you guys out there at Brooks Field again, 7 o'clock against the Needham Rockets. All right, let's do it, baby. Time for some football. We'll see you next time here on Stepping Up to the Plate.